What am I doing here? Are we rolling? Okay. Hello and welcome back to the Outdoor Minimalist YouTube channel. My name is Carney and I'm the author and host of Outdoor Minimalist. As many of you have already seen and know, I went on about a 4-month van road trip with my 2 dogs, Ash and Leo, in this trusty van right here. And I just realized I never named this van, which is a little devastating. But I'll think of a name and get back to you. So, as we kind of transition out of my vlogs about my van trip, we are going to be starting to feature new content regarding primarily gear reviews and general outdoor minimalist tips and tricks. So I may still post vlogs every once in a while if I go on a fun and exciting trip. But if you enjoyed this van trip vlog, please let me know in the comments and I'll try to include more of that in the future. But during this transition period, I just kind of wanted to recap some of the things that I really enjoyed about living in the van and traveling in the van, and maybe some of the things I did not like so much. So to start, I'll explain where I went on my trip. So I drove from Washington State, where I live, to Minnesota, which is where I sold my Subaru, named Selena, bless her soul. I love Selena. Okay. And to clarify, I named that Subaru after Selena Quintanilla, not Selena Gomez. Although I do think that Selena Gomez is named after Selena Quintanilla, so same thing. Anyway, I digress on the Selena talk, and you can feel free to cut that, but... So once I sold Selena in Minnesota and had this trusty van, we lowered the bed frame so the dogs could more easily get in and out, and also so I could sit upright inside the van. Before, it was quite high, so there could be more storage underneath, but because I have the rocket box on top, I didn't really need that much storage, and since it's just me, I definitely didn't need that much storage. And so from Minnesota, I started heading east, and I made my way to Winona, Minnesota, down to Cincinnati, Ohio, up to New York. I saw Niagara Falls on the New York side, went to Lake Placid, and then I kind of did a quick shoot over to Bar Harbor, Maine, which is where I spent Christmas. And then I was able to visit a close friend of mine outside of Boston, which we hit one of my big bucket list locations, which was Salem, and I highly recommend. I wish I would have had more time to spend in Massachusetts, honestly, because I think if you kind of like history and city life and are a foodie, the New England area and Massachusetts area is awesome. I will say during that stretch of the trip, because that was in December and wintertime in a small vehicle, we definitely felt a little bit crammed because first of all, it gets dark so early and it was so cold, and I didn't have like a heater or anything in there. You can't stand up in this van. I like that it's small for my everyday life, but I definitely understand why people opt for larger vans in those types of settings, especially if they're going to go full time. But as we transitioned out of the cold weather into the warm weather, I would say the dogs and I had a lot more fun because we were able to camp more. Like the Forest Service roads and stuff weren't closed due to snow. And so we were able to spend more time outside of the van and just use the van for what it's intended for, sleeping and transporting our bodies from place to place. I don't know if I had any super highlights. I think my lowlights were all the times when Leo ran away. So I had a couple other like major fiascos, which there are vlog videos of, like when I ripped my bike off the top of the van, or when I drove into a mud hole, which actually I don't think I videoed that, but also like fixing the mattress because a lot of moisture got caught under the mattress. But all of those were pretty easy fixes, and I was able to move on quickly from those things. So like my highest stress points were definitely from Leo. Highlights, I think, were down south. I had a really good time in New England, and I think the best moments on my trip were when I was with other people, because I think a lot of times, like, the people that you're with can sometimes enhance the experience. And because I was alone so much on the trip, I think having the company was really nice. And so I really enjoyed my time with my friend Kat in like Boston area. I had a really good time with my friends Elaine and Lawrence in Alabama. And then again down in Florida, I had a great time with my friend Whitley and her husband. And I also got to go fishing with one of my coworkers, which was really cool to be able to meet him in person since our team is entirely remote. Moving forward, I think the van is a really great tool in my life because I tend to go on like longer trips that are like 1 month, maybe 2 weeks, sometimes 2 months. And even just like driving to see my family, if I'm going from Washington to Minnesota, that takes a couple of days. And so I could utilize the van for those purposes and also just for van camping trips on the weekends. So I'm glad that I invested in the van and the trip overall was a success. I think if I wanted to live in a van full time, this would not be my choice, but for my purposes, it's perfect. So thank you to everyone that followed along with my journey down the East Coast. It was really fun to be able to share it with you all, and I enjoyed all of your guys' feedback on the van, the build, and some of the things that I could do to make myself more comfortable. And if you like this content, make sure you hit the like button down below and subscribe to stay up to date with our upcoming YouTube videos. If you like the vlog and everything that's going on the YouTube channel and you haven't had a chance to check it out yet, I do recommend that you head over to Spotify and Apple Podcasts and check out my podcast, which goes over all different types of topics regarding sustainability in the outdoor industry. And I get to interview a ton of interesting folks. All of those podcasts are also on the YouTube channel, and some of the newer ones are showing the full video format of the interview. So if you're more of a visual person, feel free to watch the interviews there. But if you want to stay in the loop with all outdoor minimalist content, the easiest way to do that is to subscribe to my weekly newsletter, and you can find that on theoutdoorminimalist.com.
On camera too.
As many of you probably know, I am the author and host of Outdoor Minimalist. And the start of, there's hair right here.
Megan, welcome back to the YouTube channel.
I'm over this.